Man, this is right in our face. Whoa! Jeez Luigi.
Hurricane Lala left its heaviest mark on Hawaii's Big Island, unleashing intense downpours, sudden flooding, and strong gusts that damaged houses, downed trees, blocked streets, and knocked out electricity for large numbers of residents. The hardest-hit areas were the southern districts near Kaio and South Point, while Nalu, Hio, Hamakua, and Puna also dealt with rising floodwaters and damaged infrastructure. Although the storm's center stayed out at sea, its reach was enough to trigger widespread chaos throughout the island and beyond.
The hurricane rain has not really begun yet.
And here's by our front yard.
Coming. All right, we have good neighbors here. This is how we do it in Hawaii. Yeah, I would have stayed there. At least for one lane.
Southern Hawaii Island faced perilous flooding as intense rainfall pounded the region, with Kau and Naliu bearing the brunt of the damage. At the peak of the storm, precipitation fell at a rate of several inches per hour, overwhelming local roadways and drainage systems throughout Naliu and the neighboring town of Wiohenu. 2 houses were swept away entirely by the surging waters, triggering emergency search and rescue operations. Responders faced additional hazards including scattered debris, obstructed pathways, and fast-rising floodwaters, as conditions deteriorated across the southern part of the island. As Lala tracked just off the coastline, South Point and its neighboring southern communities bore some of the storm's harshest consequences. Submerged roadways turned treacherous, resulting in a fatal vehicle crash near the island's southernmost point. Emergency response and travel alike were hampered by fierce winds, relentless rain, and reduced visibility. Officials called on residents to stay indoors as crews worked to track flooding, road damage, scattered debris, and evolving conditions throughout the area.
All debris traveling fast. Oh my gosh. Wow, wow. My goodness. That is the Wailuku River. Whoa. Unbelievable.
Eastern Hawaii Island, particularly around Hio, saw substantial downpours and swelling waterways that raised serious flood concerns near streams and roadways. The Wuku River surged into a churning, mud-choked torrent as water levels climbed quickly throughout the surrounding region. Hamakua wasn't spared either, with powerful winds toppling trees and disrupting electrical systems. Together, these effects snarled transportation networks and left local communities coping with power outages, scattered debris, and treacherous road conditions. As tropical moisture swept over Puna, the district saw heavy downpours and flash flood warnings take effect. Streams, drainage channels, and low-elevation areas were left exposed to sudden surges, with roadways facing both flooding and debris buildup. Officials cautioned residents to avoid non-essential travel, warning that water levels on roads could rise with little notice. While the severity varied from place to place within Puna, the district overall saw significant weather-related disruption as rain bands continued sweeping across the island's eastern and southern regions.
Pakasin na kami.
Powerful winds toppled trees onto electrical lines along the Hamakua coast, causing extensive damage to power infrastructure in the area. Hawaiian Electric teams surveyed damaged transmission lines, stretching across roughly 42 miles of the Big Island. The combination of fallen trees and scattered branches contributed to widespread blackouts and hazardous road conditions. Meanwhile, higher elevation areas contended with intense gusts of their own, with Mount Aya and other exposed mountainous terrain facing especially dangerous conditions during the peak of the storm.
Like maybe a tree. Yeah. The tree went down there.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
Maui County didn't escape Lala's reach either, as the storm's westward path brought significant rainfall and flood risks to East Maui. Areas around Hana and Kagebahulu remained at risk from swelling streams, surface runoff, and potential landslides amid the continuing downpours. High winds added further danger, threatening to bring down trees and power lines. Flood watches stayed in effect, as officials warned that any additional rain could worsen already precarious conditions, especially in mountainous terrain and areas already saturated from earlier rainfall. Oahu also felt Lala's effects as the storm continued its westward track past the Big Island. In Honolulu and the surrounding areas, reports came in of toppled trees, roof damage, hazardous power lines, heavy downpours, and localized flooding. Emergency personnel responded to a string of incidents, while utility crews worked to address outages and infrastructure damage. Though the impacts here were less severe than what the Big Island endured, officials kept up warnings to residents about dangerous winds, flooding, debris, and unstable conditions. statewide transportation ground to a halt in many places as flooding, downed trees, scattered debris, and powerful winds took a toll on roads and airports. Both Hio International Airport and Kona International Airport shut down temporarily, and commercial ports along with other affected sites imposed restrictions amid the hazardous weather. The resulting disruptions touched residents, travelers, and emergency responders alike, as crews worked to clear roadways, check infrastructure for damage, restore power, and get transportation facilities back up and running as conditions gradually improved.
Down here at the shops in Manalani, the street is completely down.
Lala has since weakened into a tropical storm, continuing its westward movement after tracking south of Hawaii's Big Island. Even so, the danger hasn't fully passed. Parts of the state are still contending with heavy rain, gusty winds, flooding, damaged roadways, downed trees, and power outages. Maui, Oahu, Kauai, and Niihau remain under active weather advisories as the system pulls away, with emergency crews continuing to survey the damage and work on restoring essential services.